All my life, I've been grinding all my life. All my life, grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Wanna slice, throw the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life.
Welcome to another episode of Inside the Grind. I am your host, Serafina Maulupe. Man, we have an amazing guest with us today. I am so grateful that he is here. I'm so excited to talk about his journey. He is a former football player, played defensive lineman. He played his college career at University of Arizona, where he earned all Pac-10 honors. He then went on and had an 8-year NFL career. He was drafted by the Tennessee Titans, who were known as the Tennessee Oilers back then in 1998. Also played for the Baltimore Ravens, San Diego Chargers, and Washington Redskins. He continues to make a name for himself on college football sidelines. Currently the defensive line coach and associate head coach at the University of Oregon, and he has his own foundation. I'd love to introduce Joe Salave'a.
Thank you. Thanks, guys, for having me.
No, thank you so much for your time. What are you up to these days?
Well, we just wrapped up spring ball, and the guys are preparing to finish out this quarter. We're a quarter school, so we're about 3 weeks out, and the guys are working hard, and we're just prepping, organizing things for the summer, and obviously, getting ready for the fall season.
Awesome. And, before we talk about your journey, I'd love to touch on, the NFL draft that recently happened, being a coach and seeing your players just get drafted, how much does that mean to you? And, another question is just like, what was your message to the players whose dreams to play in the NFL? What would your message be to them?
It's all about the work. You're always trying to reinforce the work ethic that it takes to be at that elite level. And, sometimes a lot of folks are quick to want instantaneous results, and they undermine the process. And the process cannot be skipped, cannot be glossed over. And the process is not glamorous, it's not always shiny, but it's the hours and hours of the work that you put in, especially when nobody's looking. And I think those are the things when you're being rewarded for the effort that you put in. It's gratifying, and for us teachers of the game and former players of the game, you want to see all of our young athletes, men and women, take part in living their dreams. And those are the things that, why we're excited and so energetic about, doing what we do.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. Well, now diving into your journey, I would love for you to just talk about your childhood and, when football was introduced to you.
Well, born and raised in Samoa, I'm one of 8 kids and third to the youngest. And obviously, the household was filled with athletes, and I had some older siblings that came before, and obviously their journey and their some of their examples were huge in just kind of shaping my outlook and my approach. And obviously, when I moved over to the state side, attended high school in Oceanside, San Diego, went through the recruiting process. But I think it was, by the time I got to Oceanside, was really, it was about, trying to prepare and just excel in the classroom and on the playing field, really. And really didn't understood the future and everything that lies ahead. But I think I was more grateful that I was surrounded by a strong support group, relatives that I stayed there with in Oceanside, but the teachers and coaches that were heavily involved in my journey, because they're the ones that really, truly positioned me to, again, take that next step from high school to college. And, from there, it was just a matter of, removing the conflict, understanding the work that needs to be done, why I left Samoa, and the responsibility that came with being a student athlete. You're always reminding our players, it takes what it takes. It is what it is. To be an elite, to be successful in anything, you got to do the work. And it's all about the work, and that's something that we're always trying to strive for, is to be the best version of ourselves. We cannot be that version and still entertain the old habits and old self. So you have to be in a realm of understanding and embracing being uncomfortable and be okay with it, because that's where growth begins. And so for me, it's just, to be able to go to college via athletic scholarship and to be able to graduate early, and thought I was going to pursue my lifelong career as a federal agent, which I wanted to get into. But God had other plans and kept leaving the football door open, and got into the NFL, and 1 turned into 3, turned into 4, turned into, all those years. And so I'm really, really grateful for that, because that wasn't planned at all. And so, but again, you never rise to the occasion, you fall to your training. And I was more than grateful that I was, again, surrounded by great mentors. To this day, I still revere them, and some of them have passed. But again, I think you're a byproduct of your support group. And the big thing is you always try to advise a lot of the young ones, young athletes coming up, to keep their circles small. You don't need to be loud about what you do, but if you do the work and you're obedient to the process and remain humble and hungry, those things are going to be there for you. And I think that was the case. I was just really grateful to have the opportunity that I had, and be able to be in the National Football League and get to run out of the tunnel in the Super Bowl. I mean, all those things are just, you only dreamed of, but you got to live in. And now swapping the cleats for the whistle and the clipboard. There's a teacher of the game now. It's a goal is to always try to mentor and groom our guys and prepare them for that next level, for what they want to become after college, not just on the field, but off the field, being great people.
Oh my gosh. Well, one, you just dropped a lot of gems in there, like, I had, because it's like, being a former athlete as well, like, you now being graduated and being in life now, I really understand the importance of the habits that I created when I was playing, because then now I'm able to, now it comes easy to me. Like, I know what I need to do in order to still continue to be the best version that I need to be every single day. And like you mentioned, everything about habits, and it's just, and it's like you're like your byproduct of your environment, like the people you're around. And that was just a lot. Thank you for sharing that, and, what were the other schools that you were considering, besides Arizona?
Oh gosh. So my older brother played at Colorado back in the days, and he was part of the class that kind of brought Colorado back to their glory days. And at the time, they were part of the Big 8 Conference. And so obviously him and brother Sal Onesi, they both went there. And so, when I was getting recruited and starting to get the attention, I really was just trying to focus on school. It got into the point where, my whole head coach in high school, Coach Carroll, had to sit me down. It was already October, and I still didn't make a decision of what I wanted to do. So, but the phones kept ringing and the mails keep coming. And so had to sit down and really assess what that is that I was looking for in the program. And the one thing for sure was I'd never been further east of Colorado. Right. So I don't, to me, I wasn't entertaining Miami, Florida State. So that pretty much eliminated the ACC. SEC, again, I don't know. I didn't know much about Alabama, Mississippi. I didn't know a whole lot, but I knew one school in that area, that region was they wore orange, and I didn't know it was the University of Tennessee. Right. So I was like, man, well, I've never been there. So that eliminated the SEC and so for Big 8. My brother went to Colorado. I just wanted to kind of blaze my own trail, and didn't want to go to Colorado because I had much respect for him, and I didn't want the coaches to, it's just kind of those things. And I wanted to do my own thing, but because he went to Colorado, I just had a natural hate for the schools that he played against. So
Yeah.
Oklahoma State. So that eliminated Oklahoma and all those schools there. So
Yeah.
that kind of led back to the WAC and the Pac-10 at the time, and had a great relationship with the head coach at Utah. He's a great man there, and there's some former teammates. Luther Ellis at the time was playing at Utah, so that was one of the schools that I thought about. Obviously, the Pac-10 because it was on the West Coast. UH because I thought, growing up, the University of the Islands was Hawaii, and so that's why they were there. But I also had a good relationship with Ken Matalolo at the time. He was recruiting me out of Hawaii, so I had a good relationship with him. And then, obviously, at the time down in SoCal, I mean, there was just some of the schools there was just too close to Oceanside, and there's a lot of things going on at the time, and just felt like it was too easily accessible to, family and whatnot. So I just, all those situations, wanted to be far, but not too far. I can always go back down to SoCal when time permits. So kind of looked out, and Arizona was one of the schools that they told me that who became my former head coach. They were pretty consistent in pursuing me, and the conversations were about everything that I was looking for. Life after football, being a great person, those things. So that's how I was able to narrow down my school of choice. It was who's going to give me the best opportunity to kickstart my career path, getting an education, utilizing the platform of a student athlete to really get out in the community and those things. And mind you, growing up in Samoa, you don't really speak that much. I mean, it was more the casual head nod, to start with, right? And then just slowly building that up. And I was really grateful because at the time, cousin Pulu Pomele was there already. George Malolu just wrapped up. He was gone, and so there was a Polynesian pipeline there.
Yeah.
And so I took my visits there, and man, fell in love. Felt Tucson was far, but not too far away from California. So that pretty much sealed the deal. UH was, I think it was just too comfortable. Had so many relatives there, and and I didn't. I just wanted to be in a place where I can really focus in on what had to get done. And so to not finish college was not an option. When you're one of 8 kids, growing up in a small 2-bedroom house where really there's nothing there but the one bed that mom slept in, and we all slept on the floor. And I, it was humble beginnings, but I would never change it because, those are the things that kind of motivated myself and some of my older siblings as far as just, representing our family well. And obviously for me, as I continue to progress through the collegiate level, with the things that I was getting done and getting noted for, I just wanted to make sure that my path and my work was consistent of who I am as a Polynesian student athlete. So those things were huge. And, I graduated early, and shoot, the rest was history. It just, it's been a tremendous journey,
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And, I'm curious as to making that transition from high school to college. What was the toughest thing for you that for you to adapt to?
Well, she's coming over from the islands to the stateside. You're going from 25 miles an hour to 75 miles an hour, even just in the interstate. I mean, it was just, and then you had to, you lose the luxury of having teachers that were able to translate things from English to Samoan. And so I was like, wow, I got a full on 24/7 speak English. And so, but again, and then from high school to college, I think it was more time management. That was one of the biggest thing that was drawing me to Arizona. They had a really structured regiment run there by my academic advisor, Kathleen Gabriel. And she did a phenomenal job. And obviously that was, to me, I needed that. I needed the structure. I needed somebody there that was firm, but fair,
Yeah.
I didn't need a babysitter. Obviously, the work had to be on us, the athletes, but that was probably the biggest thing. And once you get into your routine, it was just, and then it was from there, it was just making sure that you're early to everything, and always be prompt and be detailed, those things. But to have the luxury of having those things lined up, and that's the big thing now, as we're looking at all the different universities and the different levels, Division 1, 2, 3. It really doesn't matter. Everyone has those opportunities, and it's just a matter of how bad do you want it, and for you to stay focused on making sure that you're following through with what you need to get done each day.
Definitely. Are you able to share a story, when you were in college and you faced adversity where you had to overcome it, like there was like a tough moment in your college career? Are you able to share a story with us?
Well, I think the hardest thing is you lose out on participating in some of the family gatherings, funerals, especially. Obviously, born and raised in Samoa, you can't just get up and go and be home for aunties or grandma's funeral. Those things, it's the intimacy that you miss for the people that you revere and respect. Again, you have to sit there and understand the big picture. The big picture is, they wouldn't want any other way for you to do well. So, I think those are probably the most dreadful ones that I can think of. But once I sat down and kind of step back and look at the overall reasoning of why I left, then it made it a little easier to cope of understanding. Well, it's okay.
Yeah.
That I'm out here because they prayed favor over my journey and what I'm doing. So but again, just not being able to have some of those, but that's a sacrifice you have to make, right? As a student athlete, you don't go by the same rules as everybody else, and you have to understand. And that's one of the biggest things that come up now. The difference is, when there's so many influences that are probably pulling and tugging at our student athletes now, and some of those are external things. And so we're always trying to advise and encourage our athletes to block the outside noise and to really focus in on the task at hand, because you can easily drift. As much as you're on the right path, you can easily drift astray and not even know it. Before you see it, it's too late. So those things, just got to make sure that your days planned out, your weeks is planned out, and you just got to. It's not for the lighthearted, because those things is what make the Junior Seau's, the LeBron James, the Black Mamba, who they are, because they're able to really remove the conflict of what needs to be done for them to get to that level and remain there.
Yeah. No, actually, so I'm into, I don't know if you're familiar with who Tim Grover is. Tim Grover he's the trainer of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And I actually just ordered the book, but he just wrote a book called Winning. And he was, he was on this podcast, and he says, what really separates, what makes Kobe's and the MJs is just their mentality and that obsession to want to be great every single day. And, not letting their emotions get involved with the task that they have to do at hand. And so, something that you just mentioned, it just made me reflect on, on that. And no, thank you for sharing.
I think you have to really think of yourself in that high regard of wanting more out of life. And it's, you gotta dare greatly. And really see that for yourself. Again, it's one thing to want to be somewhere and to be something, And then there's another about doing the work and actually working the process.
Mm.
You know, those two things, it's like to know is not good enough, right? Understanding and embracing are two different components. Yeah, I understand what works and needs to be done, but embracing it, right, is really infusing and immersing yourself and walking that plan. And so, you know, you're always trying to be specific and direct in that, and also living that yourself. And then for me as a former athlete and the teacher of the game, I got to make sure that I'm organized. I got everything going and line up for our guys, because it's not what I know. What matters is, do my players, do my guys understand and know the material, so that they're being productive with their opportunity and position them to have that, you know. And so it never ends, you know. But
yeah. No, definitely. And so now, you know, you're getting ready for the NFL, you know, you're getting, you know, leaving college, you know, getting ready for the NFL. What, you know, what's going on and what's going through your mind, you know, and during that process?
You know, by then, you know, it was just, you know, God, if this is your will, great. If it doesn't happen, I got my degree, I'm ready to move forward.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a whole lot of putting all my eggs in one basket. The goal was to go to college, to build my portfolio, to be able to have that degree and have the degree that will be to put me in a position to pursue my career. Now, the football part was just an added bonus. And again, you know, I did not know how I was prepared for that, this and that. You know, you get your name read off, you get drafted, and you go to a place that you've never been there before, and you find out that at that level, that it's a grown man level. And then, you know, for any young athlete that aspire to be a professional athlete in whatever level, you know, you really don't rise to the occasion. You fall back to your training.
Oh, I love that quote. I love that.
Realized then that I had a great system of people that grown me and prepared me for that level. Because when you have a young collegiate athlete coming in there and at that level, again, they're supportive, but they're not always going to be forthcoming and embracing a young rookie coming in, because you're in a position to take somebody's job. And these are men that have families, right? So, you know, it was really a reality check, but also one that, you know, I'm always, for whatever reason, love competing. I love competing. Never thought I was the best athlete on the field. So I think that contributed to my sustained hunger and temperament for doing more than everybody else, because I always felt like I had to prove something. And even when I did some things good, there was always the mentality of, I got to get better. You know, those are the things you're always trying to, you know, remind the players of: remain humble, but never be satisfied. You got to be driven and be hungry, because there's always somebody else working you on a daily basis. Yeah. You know, so, you know, going to the NFL, that was tremendous to be drafted, but also to make the roster. And then that's one of the things that a lot of young athletes will understand. Just because you get drafted or you don't get drafted, you still got to go through the process of making a final roster. Yeah. So every day is an interview. You cannot be sore. You cannot be tired. You cannot be late, those things. And they'll tell you up front at that level that if you don't produce, you're not going to be around. If you don't do it a certain way, how we want it, and then you're not going to be there. So one thing, I was grateful that I got my degree, because I wasn't sure. I was like, man, am I cut out for this thing here? But, you know, again, when you have some great examples coming up, you know, obviously my older brother and Sal and brother Junior, those guys were about the same year, same age group. And so those guys, I've seen those guys work out and train. So it kind of helped remind me of, you know, shoot, man, I can do this. You know, I just got to do it better and faster than the older guys that were already there. So, you know, those are the things that, you know, again, you know, if you really want to cut to it, is your work ethic and your thirst for the work and the process that needs to have happen. Those things are going to help you sustain your employment with the at that level, because if you ever come to the I have arrived syndrome, you ain't gonna be there too long. Right? That's what they call it.
Get your butt
not for long, you'll be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So But man, what an awesome journey. Got to meet and still close to some of my former teammates. But to be in that level and that locker room, you get to you really get to have an exciting feeling because your approach to the game and your work ethic is being affirmed by other athletes that are they're just as driven and it's exciting, to me to know like, wow, I'm not the crazy one that when I go home or go visit a sister or someone in Cali on my time off from college, I'm running down the street getting my cardio because it was just I can't sit around. We're always telling athletes, if just because you go home doesn't mean you're off. You got to do something. So to be able to be in that locker room and to see how those guys work and to have the same conversation and dialogue, it's really, really a neat treat to know that. And, it really is it's exciting to know a guy like Ray Lewis goes hard as he does in practice, as he does in a game, all those things. Eddie George has some great teammates that really re-emphasize and embody the hard work to success mentality. And those are the things I'm very, very honored to have.
Yeah. And, what would you say, just having that experience playing in the NFL, what did it teach you? What is something that it taught you?
I think, it taught you to be bottom line. It's all about the bottom line. The bottom line, either you did it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And because, again, you don't make compromises, you don't reason. A lot of times we do some things and it doesn't happen, and you're trying to reason. You come up with reasons why you didn't get it done. At that level, being a professional athlete, to be a pro, and I'm cautious of saying to anybody to be a pro because until you get in your situation where you're not in that level in that realm, being a pro is you're being proactive with everything. You're not reactive. You're always your prior preparation will lead to the success that you'll have. But even if you're prepared, it may not guarantee that you'll have those. But I think it's just having the professional etiquette of having that work ethic and being organized and producing. Right, the bottom line is produce. And those are the things I think it stakes out of my journey being a former athlete at that level. It's just very, very revealing because if you're not understanding that, you might be there for a cup of coffee and then you're out.
Yeah, and something that like you mentioned, and something that I've learned is that being an athlete, you can't attach yourself to the result. You have to truly just focus on the journey of getting better, and because another thing that Tim Grover said is like winning isn't loyal. Winning isn't loyal. You can put in all the work, but still lose. But at the end of the day, you can tell yourself that you put in that work. And so, gosh, this is great.
Success is not continual. You have to press the reset button every day, every morning. You have to do that.
Yeah.
Right? You got to be centered. You can't be high. You can't be low of low. Every day brings about a different challenge, right? You have success. Guess what? The next challenge is. It's the next challenge. Yes, right?
Yeah.
And those are the things that separates the good from the great. It's that little bit, understanding that today's a new day. I work my yesterday. What I did 2 hours ago is not good enough. And you have to think that way because the reality is somebody else is working in your position somewhere in the four corners of this country doing just as much or more. So you cannot say, well, I did enough, and I think those are the things that, to see a close a friend and a brother in junior cell work, he would have never thought that he made it because he worked and worked and worked his tail off. And those are the things that you admire and you respect a lot because you get the example what sheer work ethic means, and the results that brought about in his career.
Definitely. Yeah. Rest in peace to, yeah. What a legend. But are you able to share, cause this is what people don't see, inside the locker room. Are you able to share like a memorable locker room story? It could be funny. It could be memorable. It could be anything. A memorable locker room story that you could share with us.
We were getting ready to play the AFC Championship game. We were a wild card team. Mm-hmm. Had to fight and claw ourselves to getting back to that. And mind you, we had a tough schedule. We had to play Buffalo for the wild card game, and then turn around, had to go over to Indianapolis and face Peyton Manning, and then from there we went to Jacksonville. So all those teams were tops in the division. But the night before, we were getting ready to break our meetings. Jeff Fisher had played a video, somehow got a hold of a video. The Jaguars already made a sort of a prelude Super Bowl video, mm-hmm. as if the game was already done. So the guys were motivated. I mean, just your ultimate disrespect that these guys already got a video of their little run to the Super Bowl. So, we played a really solid game, and were able to win, and to be able to have the opportunity to play for it all, and winning the AFC Championship, to get ready to punch our ticket to go to the Super Bowl was, those things you get to dream about and watch on TV. And so for a kid coming up from Samoa, I mean, it was very, very, very humbling. And I think those are the best moments, because then you're able to call home, and you're hoping that it inspires the young ones, not just on the islands, but here in the stateside and whatnot. That it really doesn't matter what the skin of your color, your financial background is, or mm-hmm. It really doesn't matter. If you have a dream and a goal, and you marry that up with a hard work and persistent and consistency in your pursuit, soon enough that door's going to open. And so I was very, very humbled by the fact that everybody that had a relationship with me coming up, and just the teachers and the coaches, that teammates, that I think it was just to punch that ticket with my teammates to go to the Super Bowl was, it was for them. It was really, again, it takes a village to raise a child. And I would honestly say, to this day, that I am the man I am because of those folks outside of my wife and kiddos. Wow. Those are the things that I always, keep in that perspective, because, nobody just comes out and win by themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
No. Yeah.
But just because you didn't make a certain income, or your folks, I'm one of 8 kids. I mean, you're talking about when it rains, we're running around with pots and pans, because it was like a waterfall come through the roof. But they don't know that, right? They just knew Joe Salave'a, the NFL, the pro player. They didn't know all those things. They never knew my mom and dad never owned a car. They had to catch a bus. I mean, that man, my dad was a teacher, and he was overworked, underpaid. Mind you, American Samoa, we don't have we don't make that much. So low in the payroll that they don't even have a minimum wage.
Yeah. Wow.
That didn't had any effect of me and my siblings pursuing the things that we wanted to do. And to this day, I think those are the things that we're always trying to instill in our young people.
Yeah.
Definitely. You can't reason, you can't make excuses for why things are not happening for you. You can't be on the sideline too. You gotta mm-hmm. participate. You gotta be out there, and even if you don't get the results that you're looking for, you just gotta continue to focus on the work. It's all mm-hmm. about the work, and continue to work, and be excited about it, because over time that thing's going to turn, and it's going to be turned in a big way.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Now transitioning from being a player to a coach, How has that changed for you? And, what made you want to get into coaching?
Yeah, really, I didn't. I had a former college roommate. He's the one that told me at the time we're getting ready to leave, and I knew he was going to pursue the coaching profession, and I was kind of waiting to see what the next step is, because I already knew that I was applied somewhere to be to pursue the law enforcement. But he said, "Man, I'm going to get you to coaching, or you're going to get into." I said, "Nah, it's too much headache." I wasn't in that mode to teaching it. To play that's the other thing. I'm trying to tell the athlete, to play the game is one thing, but to teach the game is another, right? Because it's a teaching thing. It's not, coaching is teaching, and you have to embody the whole mantra of being a great teacher. How do you become a teacher? Well, you got to have ultimate patience. You gotta be able to listen clearly and listen well, because you're going to be dealing with different personalities, and you have to, again, be able to articulate and convey the message to the classroom and the players, so that they're able to grasp. And knowing that all those things, I was like, nah, I'm not going to coach. So many years later, I'm getting ready to transition out of the league. Our second kiddo was born, and my mom just passed, and so I was like, man, is this God's way of transitioning out? So I said, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to get out, and looking at finally pursuing this law enforcement, this federal bureau career that I always wanted to get done. But as I was doing that, Coach Dick Tomey came through. He was my former head coach at Arizona. Found out that I was in Vegas. We were living at the time, and one conversation one morning led to another. He was there for a Nike clinic and talking, and who does a phenomenal job of talking and working relationship. At the time, he was a head coach at San Jose State, and he was looking for a D-line coach or part-time coach or somebody to at least help out with their defensive line. And I said, he'd asked, I said, what did you think about coaching? I said, I don't know. After playing so many years, I want to do something else. But obviously, the love for the game will never change. When you're playing, you're still involved in some form or fashion. So he said, well, listen, I just want you to come and, we start. Man, they were about to start practicing in a couple of days, and they had no D-line coach. And he's like, what? So just come out and go through this part of our off season, and if something that you want to entertain, be great. If not, no worries. And so because of my respect for him, he's my mentor. He's the one that I confided in, even when I was playing in the NFL, because of the man he was and what he meant to me outside of my father. I went to San Jose State, with the blessing of the real boss of the house, my wife.
Oh, no, that's awesome.
So I went out there and volunteered, and obviously you have to do a lot of things, class check the guys, run the tutoring sessions, all those things. San Jose at the time didn't have all the amenities that everybody else had in the Power 5 schools, so you have to make your coffee, you have to do things, everything. So to me, it was just a refreshing thing to me to kind of to see the profession as it is, right? Because a lot of times it's not always you just show up, coach the kids, and go home. You don't see the hours and hours. So for that, I think but I've never lost touch of that. I've played the game from collegiately all the way up to the pro level. You see what the work that these coaches go through, the grind that they put in. When you're leaving, you're gone, they're still in there breaking down films and organizing your day. So I think there was a more profound respect for the profession. But was it for me? I don't know. All I knew was I loved working with the young people, because on my off seasons, I would have my youth clinics, and that's what I was. It was the reason why I started the foundation. Was just a way to kind of facilitate things between the mainland and for the young ones down in Samoa.
So awesome.
And so I was already kind of, and I see, some of my family members that were in the teaching profession. So it wasn't that I wasn't qualified to coach. It was just, is it for me? So just having that short experience with Coach Tomey, and, at the end, he had asked me if I would like to come on as a not just as a GA or a volunteer, but a full-time coach. I was like, shoot,
Wow.
I need to go talk to the family. My
Yeah.
kids, they're older now. My daughter was on the sideline when I was playing, and so it's just the time away from family is the one thing that I will never compromise. And that's pretty much what made the decision clear, because again, they're in favor so long as that I had a passion for it, and there's something I wanted to do, knowing that they've been around the game as long as I was been playing, so my wife knew the intricacies of what goes on, so I just needed her to give me the okay, and the one thing that I told her, if this thing becomes more football, less family, I'm gonna walk. And I shared that with Coach. I never going to disrespect the profession, but I'm not going to compromise my family. That thing is not in the even balance. I'm fine. I'm done. I played enough ball, and I'm ready to do something else. So knock on wood, it just worked out well. I think it's the profession is about people, relationships, being in a position to mentor, to inspire, but also humbling enough to learn from everybody else's input. We have a unique staff here. We're competitors, but I pinch myself every morning because I get to be around great minds, great people, and that's one of the biggest things that drew me to come here to Oregon. Just the environment. Now it's a grind. I tell people, man, you got to put in the work. But what's the fun in it if you ain't doing it? Like in that regard. But everybody's different. So, but for me, that was my end with coaching. I didn't want to do it, but the old man talked me into it, and it's been awesome ever since. Just be a part of organizations and universities to contribute to the success of our players, and and their success not measured by the NFL. And that's the other thing about families, to get a degree now and being able to position them to have careers that can provide quality of life for them and their future families. That's the ultimate goal, because we all play these sports in a small window, but the life lessons and everything else that come with it is so much more than playing. And so it's been great. It's been fun.
Yeah, no, wow. Thank you for sharing that. And I definitely want to acknowledge just, how you are as a coach, like, you're so successful, and I think he mentioned this to you, but, my cousin is Austin and Andrew value, and so, you're a successful coach, and I just want to, thank you for, just what you do, and, and being a mentor and being in the position that you are. And, but what do you love most about being a coach?
I think to see our players be rewarded for their efforts, be rewarded for their work that they put in, the hours and hours of preparing. The game of football is not like any other. You spend more time training than you do playing. I mean, you only play a handful of Saturday games.
Yeah.
But the training is year round, and you gotta make good grades in the classroom. So it's not like you just are out there doing ball and not do the schoolwork. So, I think that's one of the joys is, knowing that, you're working towards positioning these young athletes to have that for them. But also, for me as a Polynesian coach, as a Samoan coach, former player, I'm always in admiration for the brothers in the profession. We need more head coaches. We need more aspiring coordinators. I'm always been loud and advocate of our own to be in those positions. How do we get there? Well, man, we got to continue to be mobilized and continue to promote each other. Now, the profession is competitive. We all work for different universities, and we're trying to compete against each other, this and that. But to me, at the end of the day, it's about the professional etiquette to be able to draw on truth and transparency and building relationship, but also elevating our work that will help position us for those kind of opportunities to be in the likes of Kenya Matalolo and Kalani, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
there's so many great minds there of Polynesian background. I think that's one of my goals is to see more of our coaches have those just be mentioned to go through the process of interviewing for a head coaching position or a coordinating position.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I'm pushing for. I'm always going to advocate. Now, will that ever come a point where we're going to have those positions filled with Polynesian? I would like to say yes. I would like to believe so. But I think it's a competitive profession. There's more coaches than positions.
Yeah.
So, it's always important to network. It's always important to be in touch, but also be connected. Those are the things. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And then just be able to have your work, the body of work survives that thing. So you're able to have a heavy punch in your resume.
Yeah.
We're more than recruiters. That's one thing for sure. I'm not a believer in that. Just because you're Polynesian, your only value is to recruit Polynesian kids.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with that, but we can't buy into that.
Yeah.
We gotta think more universal, that we can thrive in any four corners of this country, be it the South, the North, the East, or West. I think the beauty of it all, if this is something that you're pursuing as an aspiring young coach, then pursue it with everything you have, but making sure that you're reaching out and building a network of people that are truly are going to be there to help mold you and not just bring you along to fulfill a little quota, So
yeah, definitely.
That's my little 2 cents.
No, thank you for sharing that. But you've hit this on the head, in many of your answers that you've had. But what my show is about is the grind. The grind it takes to get to where you're at, the grind and, to get to the NFL, and just to be in the position that you're in, like you mentioned, it's full of ups and downs. It's not perfect, but are you able to tell us what it took for you and just your process that you had to go through to become great, just get to the NFL and to get to where you're at?
I think when all said and done, as I'm sitting there waiting for the final cut to be made, but leading up to that, knowing that every day is an interview, literally every day is an interview. So you don't have time to feel sad. You don't have time to be anything but focused, right? Mm-hmm. So it kind of shaped my understanding of removing my emotions, right? Mm-hmm. So that I'm clear in my direction of what needs to get done. My time is to start is before 6 o'clock. It don't get done until whenever you get home. But even that, everything that I do is consistent with preparing for the next day kind of thing. And so sometimes it's harsh because then you don't have the time to really break bread with your families and whatnot and whatnot. But I think that's the life that you choose. You choose to be pursuing this profession. There cannot be any compromise. So I think just having that space of not knowing if you're going to be retained or cut. I think over time it had evolved into a standard of work, and that work was it doesn't have no hours. Everybody clock in 9 to 5. That thing there is beyond that, and so to a normal person, that's outrageous. That is not healthy, but it helped shape my approach in just knowing to capitalize on a small window of opportunity, the opportunity that was created by your work, right? Always looking at the opportunity. Well, opportunity is not really there. You have to work yourself to prepare yourself to capture that. So, I think that's the grind. I always tell our guys, I said, just because you run X amount of hills, X amount of striders, X amount of weights, that's just part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do more, and they're like, oh. Sometimes my guys look at me like, hey, we just did la la la. I said, to be the best, to be elite, it is what it is, and it takes what it takes.
Yeah.
Right? Because if success is not continuum, right, then you have to act upon it every day. And for me, the part of the whole thing is, if you disrespect the process, if you disrespect the grind, it's gonna turn its head on you again. But if you're obedient, if you immerse yourself into it, and you respect the process, the process is going to love you back.
Yeah.
And again, what is the process? The process is what the young ones call it, the grind. And the grind does not stop. It doesn't have no days off. It doesn't feel your pain. It doesn't care about feelings. All it cares is, have you contributed? Have you done the work? Right? That's the thing, right? Because if you're not careful, then dreams are just dreams. But you have to have the reality of the understanding of, okay, today's a new day. I got to go get this. I got to do a better job of detailing my work, being prompt and being early, because early is on time, and doing that on a consistent basis. Sometimes you may not get the reward that you're looking for, but the consistency and the repetition that it takes will prepare you to get that. And I think those are the things that always constantly reminding the players, and even just a normal person. If you really want something, you have to be mad about it. You have to be pissed off for it to go get it, because it ain't because there's somebody else vying for the same opportunity that you're wanting to get. But that's the beauty of life. Life doesn't care. It's a cold world out there, and if you don't have a plan, a blueprint, and a purpose, right, to pursue it, you ain't going to have a chance. But if you lost your purpose, then you got to find your passion.
Yeah.
Those things are intertwined. Okay, my passion will lead you to a purpose. If you don't know your purpose, then you got to find that career that gives you joy. And most of the time, the higher the greater the value of what you're trying to get, the greater the cost of the sacrifice and the work that entails. It's just the way it is, and just because you're not seeing it right away, it doesn't mean that you're not working towards it,
Yeah.
So.
And I think, especially people are expecting like instant gratification, like they want, like you mentioned earlier, they want to see it instantly, but it's like, no, it's a journey, it's a process, and just really embracing all that comes with it. And, thank you again for sharing, but right now, what would you tell your younger self?
My younger self. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably not have long hair. Never fell in love with long hair. I used to have long hair, and I never thought I was going to be bald.
Oh, for real? Yeah, long hair? No.
Problem is, I didn't know my black hair was going to be turning into silver, so didn't want to look like one of those characters from Lord of the Rings. But I don't know. I think the biggest thing is enjoy the journey more. I was so critical of myself that I didn't even had a chance to truly embrace the success that I had in high school and college, or some of it in pros, because I was so consumed about being better, to improve, that I was always looking at the things that I didn't do right, and so, but I think that was part of my way of keeping myself in check, keeping myself on my toes, and never be in a relaxed mode. I think that would probably be the one advice I would tell my younger self, just enjoy the moment, and being humble doesn't mean you lower yourself, right? I'm always fearful of, at the time I didn't know what that meant, but being humble is being vulnerable. Make yourself vulnerable so that you're able to receive the instructions, receive the messaging from different people. It doesn't mean that you're being humble, that you don't care for yourself, or you value yourself, right? But being humble is keeping an even outlook on things, but also opening your heart to be pulled and challenged by the people that are truly there to support you and want you to have more, and then just having a sustained hunger for that you're looking for and you're pursuing.
Definitely. And what would your advice be to someone who wants to be successful in their life?
I think you have to be clear about what success is, because it's different for everyone. Just because we finish a race doesn't mean we all finish together. Some people might finish in a half hour. Some people might finish in 2 hours, 2 years. But to finish something that you started is the key. It's the ultimate key. So for people that are aspiring to trying to work themselves into having success, stick to the plan. Making sure that your objective is clear. What is that you're looking for? If my goal is to be a better person, then I have to open myself up to confront the habits that I keep pigeonholing me from being that better person. Being a better person, that means you can't be reactive to everything. You can't be so sensitive to everything, right? Because if you are, then you're never going to look in the mirror and say, well, I'm the one that's wrong. It's always them, somebody else.
Yeah.
I think, the biggest goal for that is just making sure that your plan is not overly expensive, where there's so many things. Simplify things, keep it simple, and then just work that plan. Whether you want to in 2 months, you want to be able to commit yourself to community service once a week or something like that. If that brings you joy to improve your perspective of being of service to something, those things. It's just having small, manageable goals, and then continue to work that every day. Because not every day you're going to feel great. You wake up on the left side of the bed and you're like, man, the world is on top of me. I was on top of the world. Now the world is on top of me. But I think just having the being empowered within yourself, knowing that you have what it takes, and never feel like you're short of the strength. Because I think those are the things for me. My faith has always been my biggest backbone. I don't know if I would have been able to make it through some of my trials and tribulations if I didn't have my faith with me. Outside of my family. Again, even with family, when you're venturing through your journey, it's only you and you alone. It's not like your auntie are running over there and tie your shoelace or massage your back. It's you, right? So when your physical being is fleeting you, all that's left is your true pride and your heart and your inner strength. And your inner strength, for me, is again trying to remain centered and praying and manifesting those things in my work, so that I can say, no, I had ancestors that prayed over favor over my life many centuries ago, and I'm not here by accident. And God, please, guide me through this journey and whatnot. I thought everybody has their way, but for me, that was my way of, just continue to take one step, forward when I got knocked down, and just continue to be resilient. But you can't be resilient if you don't have that inner value of your own self, right? It's like respect. I can't respect you if I don't have respect for myself, self-respect. Yeah. Right. It's like the African proverb, man, be wary of the naked man off in your shirt. So again, it goes back to being in touch with yourself, understanding what your worth, your self-worth is, and understanding that by divine intervention, by the grace of God, that you're you're offered an opportunity every day to get up and be something that you wanted to be. When all the odds are against us and stacked against you, know that he gave his son to the ultimate sacrifice so that we have the free will to choose what we want to be and how we want that. And I think, again, it's easier said than done, but that's what makes life worth. I mean, there's so many dire situations around the world where you can't even, some of these in these countries, you can't even have an opinion.
Yep.
Right. Or opportunity to choose.
Yeah.
We're in a situation now that if you just stick with a plan and work your plan, do not alter or blow it up because you didn't get the success right away. That's the other thing is, your face won't be tested because everybody wants that instantaneous success, but it doesn't work like that,
Yeah.
But I truly believe if you surround yourself with a group of people that are truly the pillars and your strength and support you in that way, that goes a long ways, because there are going to be moments where you're going to feel isolated, neglected, disconnected from anything, and you need that support group, And so, for me, it's been that way. I have a strong wife that doesn't shy away from letting me know what time it is. I come home late. Shit, that doesn't mean that honeydew list is this. She.
I heard that.
Oh, you better get. I heard that. But I think those are the things, and I just, I admire some of our Polynesian career people that are out there. I mean, some are public speakers, some are motivating coaches, not just in football, but everywhere. I see so many of that, and I'm always a fan of that. I'm always wanting to hopefully have the young ones come up knowing that they can also have the same opportunities. They just gotta believe themselves and dare greatly, and daring greatly and moving that path is going to put you in odds with the normal, right?
Yeah.
Because our families are like, man, you drift away from the, hey, man, what are you doing, man? That's not how we do things.
Yeah.
So again, there's going to be some of those tools that we have to make sure that it's not about what used to be done over and over. It's what's the next best thing for our younger generation so they can capitalize on their window of opportunities.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. And one of my, Justin Sua, I'm sure, he's just one of my favorites, being, motivational speaker and someone, but, it's awesome. And now I believe he's with the baseball team. He's a coach. He's a coach. I don't know what the word is, but he's a coach. He's a coach with a Major League Baseball team, but gosh, I just want to say, like, you have been dropping gems in your answers this whole time. And like, you've really described and you've went in depth in terms of like what my show is really about. And I'm just excited just for people to tune into this, but we are in the home stretch of things. And I just love to do some, rapid fire questions. So the first thing that comes to mind, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I'm on the hot seat or something.
No, you kind of are. Okay, ready? Here we go. All righty. The first one, what is a habit you wish you started earlier?
Exercises.
Exercise.
I feel like I stopped playing and I stopped exercising.
Okay. Exercise. Okay. Second, your favorite teammate.
He's gonna hate me, man. Sean
Huh?
Sean Taylor.
Okay. Oh, okay. Third, if you could have dinner with 4 other people, dead or alive, who would those 4 people be?
It would have to be President Obama, Mandela.
Oh wow.
Probably my grandfather.
Nice.
I talking Chief Salave'a. Okela was, just to pick at his brain, he was a great orator in the Samoan language. And then the fourth one would probably be my wife.
Okay, nice. That sounds awesome. Okay. Fourth one, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Don't let your mouth right chase your ass can't cash.
Wait, call rewind. What did you say?
Don't say what you're gonna do. Do as you say.
Do what you say.
Yes.
Have you ever heard that quote? I cannot hear what you say because what you do speaks so loudly.
Yes.
Oof. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's
it.
That's strong.
Yeah. Okay. So the fifth one, what's the biggest lesson you've learned in the past 12 months?
Never go to sleep defeated.
Ooh.
The rise is the truth and fact of the sun as rises in the east as in the west. The new day brings new opportunity to improve, and you're never going to be judged by what you did in the past or lack thereof. So be optimistic and keep working.
Thank you. Wow, that was awesome. Thank you for that answer. Last question. Yeah, I want to continue to highlight our Pasifika athletes. Who is someone that you'd like to see on this show?
Wow, there's so many.
Thank you.
Well, of all the older guys, I think that some of the young guys would like to get Panay Sewell on this show.
Okay. One, I may need your help with that. If you could help me out with that, I would love that. If I could get your help, I would love for
if you can't get him, then you got to get let me see, Frankie Lou. He's not with the Carolina Panthers.
Frankie Lou. Okay, I'll have to.
Frankie Lou is from Samoa. And,
from Samoa. Okay.
He's turned in a nice young career for himself in the NFL. So.
Okay. No, I'll definitely. I'll work on that. But Panay, that would. Yeah. Okay. But no, man.
Because he's in minicamp now, so we'll see.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. If anything, yeah. I can wait. But man, Joe, I just want to say thank you just so much. Thank you so much for joining me on my show. I really appreciate it. And I just hope your story will inspire and just give hope to anyone listening to this, especially to anyone, within our community. Gosh, thank you. Just thank you so much. And, thank you all for tuning in to Inside the Grind. Thank you so much, Joe.
Man, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. I think your station and your podcast is going to, it's got to be of a service to the community, and to be a great leader, you got to be an awesome servant, and you got to be able to serve, and that's what we're doing here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.